So welcome back to Khan Cloud Academy, and let's start continuing on the AG305 designing authentication and authorization solutions. So guys, this is a free training. You not need to pay online anywhere. Don't I would not recommend to join any classes because all are making your money wastage of money. So if you want to learn in details, I'm not saying you watch my videos, but yeah, you do a lot of R&D by yourself and start getting the basic information, then start doing the practical things. That's what I am trying to guide you all here. Okay. So let's start with the designing authentication and authorization. So Azure Architect design and recommend authentication and authorization solutions. So for the Azure architects, that's very important things. Even you get a job for this particular topics only. In most of the companies, people are hired for this particular topic only. Okay. So what we're going to learn in this section, right? So we have to talk about design for identity and access management, design for Microsoft Entra ID, design for Microsoft Entra business to business B2B, design for AAD B2C, right? And business for conditional access, design for identity protection, design for access review, design for managed identities, and design for service principle for application, design for Azure Key Vault. So this is the theoretical part. I'm not doing any here practical, but yeah, in future, once we start doing the real designing, I will show you how you're going to take these examples and these concept and used in the our particular designing and documentation. So that is very important for the architect. Okay. So authentication technologies are used to control who can access system. So access and authorization, what you have to understand these two terminology. Access means you have a user ID and password, and what services you are going to authorize. That is called authorization. So first you have to understand these two concepts, access and authorization, right? And accordingly, you have to plan to whom you're going to. Everybody have access, but everybody is not authorized to work on the particular things. So authentication and authorization work together to help you manage your corporate identities and ensure strong protection for your organization. With these technologies, what we can do, control access to your organization and corporate resources, store corporate password and secrets in a secure manner, integrate your identity solution for users and application into Microsoft Intra ID, right? Also, designing for identity and access management, that is called IAM. So IAM is like, to implement authentication authorization, Azure Architect design identity and access management solutions. So these solutions must work for all users, application, and devices. So unified identity management, manage all your identities and access to all your application in a central location, whether they are in the cloud or in on-premises to improve visibility and control. So let's little bit talk about on the portal side. So this is the Azure portal, and here you can find it. Where is your all the identity related services. So this is the identity. You have to click here, and you can see all these things. How you're going to define your organization. You can create an organization, and accordingly you have to give access as per your subscription level, right? Even you can share these things across the subscription as well, right? So, all right. So let's start with design for identity and access management. I was talking about, right? So unified identity management, what to understand from it? So manage all your identities and access to all your application in a central location. That's what we have to focus on. Seamless user experience, provide an easy way, fast signing experience to keep your user productive, reduce spend time to changing or managing the password or increase in end user productivity, right? So this is what is all about. So yeah. So design for Microsoft Entra. So let's more talk about this IAM part. Okay. So things to consider when user using IAM. Consider using Microsoft Entra ID developed with Microsoft Entra ID. Entra ID basically a services for a solution that combines core directory services, application access management, and identity protection. So Microsoft Entra ID provides an identity and access management system for your organization's employees that can operate in a cloud or hybrid environment. So consider your business to be B2B. So let me little bit show you Microsoft Entra ID. This one, identity management, right? So this is what you have to do. This is the default directory which is created over here. User one, group one, right? So accordingly, you have to manage your user groups, external identities, roles and administration. This is called a ABAC, administration unit, delegators, admin partners, enterprise applications. You can manage from here only. And as per this, you can monitor it. Properties, you can change where it is located and all recommendations. Tutorial if you want to know more about these things. Okay. Passwordless authentication also there. So Microsoft Entra guides, Microsoft Entra ID guides, setup guides, password authentication. So go with these things and understand, you know, how you're going to design those things, right? So users, you can create multiple user, but before it, you have to set up your directory kind of thing. So do you see here this change of Shamim and the cloud member Microsoft account we have, right? Audit logs we have, sign logs. So this is how you're going to manage all these things, right? So this is all about how you're going to manage your intra ID, right? So this is how it looks like. External identities, you want to create a group, roles administrator. So click each and everything and check it how it's privileged or not. The lot of things you can get it very easily with the built-in process. Directory writers, domain name administrator. These are the roles basically you have to assign for the particular user who going to work on it, right? So I'm not going to more dig on it. You do it by yourself for logging it, but first you have to understand the concept, right? All right. Also, Microsoft Entra ID is the Azure solution for identity and access management. I'm repeating this again. Microsoft Entra ID is a multi-tenant, cloud-based directory and identity management services. It combines core directory services, application access management, identity protection into a single solution. Microsoft Entra ID can be used in cloud or hybrid, both environment you can use. So even you can manage your on-premises identities, which is going to be connect with using Azure AD Connect to your Azure identities. Azure identities means Azure Active Directory, your internal user, your on-premise, you can put on the centralized location, right? Same way you can implement Entra ID, Microsoft Entra ID as a cloud-only identity solution for all your organization's employees, user accounts, right? You can do it. Same way you can provide them RBAC, conditional access reviewer, right? Also, Microsoft Entra ID also offer hybrid identity solution. So remember this for identity management for your organization in all the environments. In hybrid environment, Microsoft Entra ID extended on-premises Active Directory to the cloud, right? So remember this extended on-premise Active Directory is something different. With Microsoft Entra ID Connect or Microsoft Entra Connect Cloud Sync, you can bring on premises identities into your Microsoft Entra ID. After that, one premises accounts or Microsoft Entra ID, they will get the benefit of easy management and identity protection. Things to consider when using Microsoft Entra ID management. Consider benefits of centralized identity management. Consider using a single Microsoft Entra instances. Consider limiting account and synchronization. Consider password hash synchronization enabled, right? Consider single sign-on, SSO. That's very important, used by the organizations. SSO to reduce the need of multiple password increases like likelihood of users reusing password or using weak password with. SSO user provide their primary work or school account for the domain joint devices and company resources. That's it. There, application access can be automatically provisioned or deprovisioned based on their organization's group membership and they are authorized for the particular employee. What services they are authorized for this particular using. Also, we have to consider overhead of managing separate identities. So we need to calculate the overhead of not integrating the organization on-premise identity with their cloud identity. Separate identities can result in extra account management. This overhead increases likelihood for mistake and security breaches. Suppose you're putting your on-premises identity different and your cloud identity is different. Okay. So let's come to the backslide and design for Microsoft Entra ID. This is what I was talking about. And design for Microsoft Entra business to business, right? So you can see here, So that's what we have to design for intraday. So you can see here on person identities, Active Directory, domain services, Azure AD Connect need to invites, external identities as well, and Azure identities are central things. So you manage your Azure Active Directory, your internal user, your on-premises user, your guest user as well. Okay. So next we have to talk about designing for Azure Active Directories B2C business to customer. So what is this? So Azure AD B2C is a type of Microsoft Entra tenant for managing customer identities and their access to your applications. Azure AD B2C requires a Microsoft Entra tenant, but this tenant is not the same as the Microsoft Entra tenant for your organization. The Microsoft Entra tenant represents your organization. The Azure AD B2C tenant represents the identities of your customer applications. So you can see here in this diagram, on-premises identities, Azure Directory, or domain services. Your Azure identities, you have to invite your B2B external customers, users flow, whatever the access you want to give them, just give them, right? So this is how you can manage. Simple. Azure AD B2C provides secure authentication for your customer by using their preferred identity providers. You can limit them, you can give the proper access and limit them as per your requirement or their requirement as well. So sign-in preferences, you can conversion data for your customer. Azure AD B2C stores custom attributes about customers. So you can use the information in your applications. You can use branded registration and custom UI sign-in experience. The B2C options lets you separate the organization account from the customer account. So this is the benefit of this particular services. Where it is? It is here, B2C tenant. So if you click on the B2C tenant, you are going to manage proper users, right? Here you can create this. No B2C tenant. So first we have to create a user and you have to define it as a B2C tenant. Okay. All right. So this is the external identities as well, guest users, whatever it is. So what else about this Intra B2C? Okay. Let me go to the next slide and see what is the next. Conditional access. Okay. So let me little bit talk about the consider when you using Microsoft Extra and Entra B2B. So we have to consider design designated an app owner to manage guest users. First of things, delegate guest user access for your app or organization application owners because the owners know best who should be given access to their application from externally, right? So this is what we have to think about. And consider conditional access policies to control access, right? Consider the benefit of using multi-factor authentication. You also have to enable for those. Consider integration with the identity providers. Consider self-service sign up user flow. So this is going to be help very easily. Okay. So designing access for the conditional access. So conditional access is a tool that Microsoft Entra ID uses to allow or deny access to resources. When a user sign in conditional access, examine who the user is, where is the user, and from what device the user is requesting access. Based on these signals, conditional access can allow access, enforce multi-factor authentication, or deny access. So MFA supports granular control, or you can use MFA selectively and require it for certain users. Microsoft Entra ID allows named location to be used within application policies to control access. Service access can be restricted through approved client application only. Access to an app can be limited to managed devices that meets your security and compliance standard. Untrusted sources can be blocked, such as source from in unknown and unexpected locations. Reports only mode help admins evaluate the impact of conditional access policies before enabling them to their environment. And so you can see here one a user and it's a conditional user group, cloud applications, and device state, location IP range, client application, and sign risk. So actions, what action is what a block. This is what you have to decide. Block it should be block or it should be allow, enforce MFA per user application. So depend upon this is he going to access on-premises application or services or going to cloud application or services. So this is what is about the conditional access policies. All right. So let me back to conditional access, external B2C, maximum intent connect. Here you can use the hybrid identity management with both of these services, right? So B2C is very important, and B2C basically you connect your business to business customer. So that is why we use AD B2C. So AD B2C provides secure authentication for a customer by using their preferred identity providers. So this is what you have to keep in mind, right? Design for conditional access already explained. So let me little bit talk about that. Things to consider when using conditional access. MFA you must have to enable. Consider preventing access from a specific geographical areas also. Consider access only from the managed devices. Unmanaged devices don't use. Otherwise, they may be crack something, okay, or programmatic attack. Consider access only for approved client application only. Consider using policies to handle compromised account. Consider blocking access, right? So design for identity protection. So identity protection is a tool that allows an organization to accomplish three key tasks. Number one, automate the detection and remediation of identity-based risk. Okay, investigate risk by using data in Azure in the Azure portal. Export risk detection data to other tools. Things to know about identity protection. Identity protection provides risk policy detection that includes any identified suspicious actions related to user account in the directory. So this diagram is completely shows like this. Two risk policies are evaluated, user risk and sign in also. Risk intelligence increases volume of risk data access. Risky user, risky sign in, risk detection, too risky sign in. Okay, so this kind of information you will get it by designing for the identity protection, right? So design for identity protection, there are some parameters. These are the parameters, and we should know, okay, to follow this kind of, when you implementing this. Like user X represent the probability that given a identity or account is compromised, right? So give the example, leak credentials. Microsoft Entra, threat intelligence. Sign-in risk represent the probability that a given sign-in authentication request is not authorized by the identity owners, right? Anonymous IP addresses. You're not able to track the IP addresses from where it's trying to access. A typical travel. Malware linked IP addresses. Password spray. A password spray attack where a bad actor tries to defeat lockout and detection by attempting sign in with a different usernames and the same password. This is what also happened, right? So consider high threshold for your user risk policy. Consider medium and above threshold for sign-in risk policy. Consider investigating risk in the Azure portal. Consider exporting your risk detection data. So let me a little bit talk about this. Okay. So to design for access reviews, an employee of a company might work in a several different roles during their tenure. Each position they hold can require access to different resources or have varying, varying levels of permissions required. So when employees in first hire, they need initial access to corporate resources and apps. For each position they can have specific access requirement and privileges. When the employees leaves the company, their access is removed. So this is what you think about it. Diagram that shows below, employee hired, first job, second job, employee leave the company. So accordingly, we must sure that we have to disable his account, her account, right? On time. So also, access review multi-gate is risk for protecting, monitoring, and auditing access to the critical access. So this is what confirm correct user access to apps integrated with the Microsoft Entra ID for single sign-on, including SaaS apps or line of businesses, verifying group membership that are synchronized to Microsoft Entra ID. So every parameters we have to check before before closing his her account. Okay, so this is what we think about. Next, we have to design service principle for application. So when a user or application requests access to a resource that's secured by a Microsoft Entra tenant, the user app must be represented by a security principle, right? This is the topic we are talking about. So application objects and service principle. Application object and service principle we have to talk about. So although there are an exception, an app object can be considered the definition for an app. An app object allows the service to know how to issue token to the app based on their object settings. The app object exists only in the home directory, even if it is a multi-tenant app that supports service principle in other directories. Service principle. The service principle for an app can be considered an instance of an app. Service principle generally prefer reference and app objects. An app object can be referenced by a multiple service principle across directories. So Azure AD tenant B, applications, service principle. This is how you have to use. So types of service principle: applications, manage entity, and client ID, legacy also. So let me little bit talk about this. Types of service principle. That is very important. I mean, if you want to secure more your application level, or I mean people who are working on the multiple application, and then we have to use the service principle. So application service principle is a local representation of for app instances of a global app object in a single tenant or directory. This service principle is concrete instances created from the app objects that inherit certain properties from the object. The principle is created each tenant where the app is used and reference the globally unique object. The service principle object defines that what the app can do in the specific tenant, who can access the app, and what resources that app can be accessed. So this is what we have to think about. Managed identity basically work as a client ID, object ID, and Azure instance metadata services. Legacy always used for a legacy service principle will represent the legacy app that was created before app registration was introduced. Okay, so this is what you have to think about it. An app can have the most app object. Okay, so a managed identity, Azure managed identity is a feature of Microsoft Entra ID that you can use free of charge. Also, it's a free. This feature automatically creates identities to allow application to authenticate with Azure resources and services. Managed identities are available in all editions of Microsoft Entra ID, including the free edition that comes with an Azure subscription. You can use managed identities in app service at no extra cost and no required configuration. So this is how Microsoft provide you the lot of security. Okay, and managed identities combine Microsoft Intra authentication and Azure role-based access control are back. When you use managed identities, you don't need to rotate credentials or worry about expiring certifications. Azure handles credential rotation and expiration in the background. To configure an app to use a managed identity, you use the provide token to call the service. That's it. Resources that support system assign managed entities allow you enable or disable managed entities at the resource level. Use RBAC role to grant permissions, review, create, read, update, delete, create operation in Azure actively logs. Review also you have to review the sign-in activity in Microsoft Entra sign-in logs. Managed entities can be enabled or disabled or an app at any time. So this is the benefits of. So there are two types of managed identities, system assigned and user assigned. So which system assigned? Some Azure services allow you to enable a managed identity directly on a service instance. When you enable a system assigned managed identity, an identity is created in Microsoft Intra that's tied to that life cycle of that service instance. When the resources is deleted, Azure automatically deletes the identity. By design, only that Azure resources can use the at identity to request token from the Microsoft Entra ID. What is user assigned? You can create a managed identity as a standalone Azure resources for particular instances. I mean, you have to many people you can just create a managed identities. Okay. So next topic is design for Azure Key Vault. Right. So just wait a minute. So why we use for Azure Key Vault? So direct storage and handling of secrets, encryptions, and certification is risky. I mean, you're not supposed to keep in your computer or somewhere on the storage side. You have to put somewhere in a kind of locker that is called Azure Key Vault. So every uses introduces the possibility of unintentional data exposure. Azure Key Vault provides a secure storage area so you can manage all your app secrets and properly encrypted your data in transit or while it's being stored. So Azure Key Vault can help you solve security problems for your organizations. Manage secrets. You can securely store and tightly control access to token, password, certification, API keys, and other secrets. Managed keys, Key Vault is key management solution that lets you easily created and control encryption keys to encrypt corporate data, manage script certificates. Key Vault is also a service that makes it easy to enroll, manage, and deploy public and private transport security and secure TLS and SSL certificate for your user with Azure and internal connector connected resources. So things to know about Azure Key Vault. Key Vault is available in two service tiers, standard tiers and premium tiers. So standard tiers lets you encrypt your data with a software key. Premium tier offers hardware security, security module, HSM, protected keys. You can build access policies with the restricted secrets access that are tailored to the apps and individual that need them. Sensitive app information can be separated from other configuration and code, which reduces the risk of accidental leaks. So you can create a lot of Azure Key Vault inside Azure, okay? And centralized secrets store requires changes to happen in only one place. Login and monitoring the Key Vault helps you to understand how and when secrets are accessed. Key Vault provides secure access to the sensitive information from within your applications. So keys, secrets, certificates, protected without writing extra code. You can use these assets from your applications, right? And also, if you are a customer, I mean, for your customer, you can own and manage their own keys, secrets, and certificate. Your app don't own the responsibility of protection, liability of customer assets. You can concentrate on providing the core software feature on your applications. So, considering using a separate key vaults define security boundaries for stored secrets. Grouping secrets into the same vault increases the blast radius of a security event. Considering what secrets or a specific application should have access to, and then separate it. So, considering access to your key vaults, secure access to your key vaults by allowing only authorized application and users. Here are some suggestions. Create access policies for your every vault. Use the principle of at least privilege access to grant access. Turn on firewall with virtual network service endpoints. For the concept of data protection for your key vault, turn on soft delete and for protection to protect your key vault data. Soft delete is designed to prevent accidental deletion of your key vault and keys, secrets, and certificates stored inside key vault. Things of soft delete like a recycle bin. Purge protection is designed to prevent the deletion of your keyboard, keys, secrets, and certificates by malicious insider. Think of that recycle bin with their time-based lock. You can recover item at any point during the configuration retention period. So, if you want to learn more about these things, guys, you go with this, find a business. These are the topics you can search easily on the Google or Microsoft documentation part and start doing this little bit R&D on this part. So, thanks for your time. And this is very lengthy session, and I will cover next topic in design solution for log and monitoring services in our coming videos. So thanks for your time. Have a nice day. See you in our next video.